We reserve a few minutes each Sunday to discuss current world trends that you would expect from reading Bible prophecy. We are futurists. We interpret the unfulfilled prophetic portions of the book of Daniel, the revelation of Jesus Christ, and any other unfulfilled prophecies as future events that will occur in a literal and physical apocalyptic global context. Biometrics, artificial intelligence, cashless commerce, the manipulation of human DNA, global government, the exponential growth of human knowledge, and the rebirth of Israel as a nation are all areas we see corroborating the end times prophecies of the Bible. Those are some of the themes that we're looking for. The trend this week has been mandating COVID-19 vaccinations and the requirement to show proof in order to function in society. Let me give you some international news first. In Italy, starting August 6th, the unvaccinated are not allowed to access indoor facilities, including restaurants, museums, cinemas, gyms, etc. They're not allowed to take domestic flights or use trains. In Moscow, 2 million people in public-facing jobs, including frontline health workers, have been told they must be vaccinated by the city's mayor. Businesses will be monitored to make sure they comply. At least 60% of employees must have a first dose by July 15, or firms risk being fined. Saudi Arabia takes perhaps the hardest line: no jab, no job. In May, its government said employees in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors must be vaccinated before they can return to work. Starting August 8, Israelis must present a vaccination certificate or a negative COVID test if they want to attend cinemas, theaters, amusement parks, football matches, or any outdoor or indoor activity involving more than 100 people. Synagogues are not exempt. Around half of Australia's 25 million people are in a lockdown across several cities and states. The lockdown, in place until at least August 28th, bars people from leaving their home, except for essential exercise, shopping, caregiving, and other reasons. Australia has deployed hundreds of soldiers to Sydney to help with enforcement. Closer to home, the Biden administration on July 29 stated that federal workers and contractors will have to show proof of vaccination against COVID-19 or else wear masks, engage in social distancing, and submit to regular COVID-19 testing. They recommend the same model to employers across the United States. The U.S. Department of Justice concluded in an opinion that federal law does not prohibit public agencies and private businesses from requiring COVID-19 vaccines under the FDA's emergency use authorization. On July 26th, the Department of Veterans Affairs said they would require some of their government workers to get the COVID-19 shot or be tested weekly. They became the first federal agency to mandate the vaccine. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announced on Monday that the entire city workforce, some 340,000 people, will be mandated by mid-September to get vaccinated against the coronavirus or be tested weekly. He said, "We've got to shake people at this point and say, come on now, we tried voluntary. We could not have been more kind and compassionate as a country. Free testing, incentives, friendly, warm embrace. The voluntary phase is over." The California State University system announced that students returning to campus this fall must be vaccinated against COVID-19. All faculty, staff, and students are covered under the new requirement and must give vaccination certification to their school by September 30th. California will soon require state employees and all healthcare workers to provide proof of COVID-19 inoculation or get tested at least once a week. There are 246,000 state employees in California who are expected to be affected by the order. Additionally, there are at least 2 million healthcare workers in the public and private sectors in the state who fall under the mandate, the Associated Press reported. The Walt Disney Company announced a new policy on Friday that will require every employee working for the company in the United States to be vaccinated. Governor Newsom vowed California will have the, quote, strongest vaccine verification system in the United States. Now, I want you to set aside your personal opinions and biases about COVID-19 and the vaccinations and just look at the trend prophetically. We're not talking about whether you should or should not get vaccinated. I tell you every week that's your personal choice, and so we're not arguing that. We're not talking government conspiracies or anything like that. You've got plenty of outlets for that. So just think in terms of what does this have to do with prophecy? Well, during the future Great Tribulation, and this is a quote from Revelation 13, all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, must receive a mark on their right hand or foreheads. No one would buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. In other words, citizens of the future Great Tribulation will be mandated to participate in a system by which they must show proof of compliance in order to be allowed to work or shop or dine or attend entertainment. Without proof, their livelihood and lifestyles will be restricted. Citizens are today being mandated to participate in a system by which they must show proof of compliance in order to be allowed to work or shop or dine or attend entertainment. Without proof, their livelihood and lifestyles are restricted. One more piece of news that's interesting in light of the Revelation prophecy. The Calvary Journal reported that in Moscow, you can receive a temporary tattoo to prove your COVID-19 status. Created by Food Courier Service Delivery Club and Ever Ink Tattoo, the new service is aimed at Muscovites who need a QR pass to enter bars and restaurants. The link proves that the holder is either fully vaccinated, has the COVID-19 in the past 6 months, or has had a recent negative PCR test. The COVID-19 mandates, whether necessary or not, have accelerated global acceptance of invasive social credit by which governments will control the behavior of its citizens. And by social credit, I mean that if you listen to what's happening in the news, people are talking about vaccinated people and unvaccinated people, two classes now. And the mantra is, it is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. And so there's a gulf between two classes of people from a government point of view, and that's exactly what social credit is. It is giving people credit for behavior that the government approves of, and it's demoting them for things that the government doesn't approve of. Again, this has nothing to do with whether you want the shot or not, or what your political rights are, or whether you're a Republican or the one or two Democrats that are in here. But anyway, well, it's true probably, or an independent or whatever. So we're not talking politics. We're talking about a trend in prophecy that is blowing my mind. You couldn't make this stuff up. And people who think this is a government conspiracy, nobody in the government is smart enough to have come up with this. This is a satanic conspiracy that has been launched against the entire globe. The devil somewhere in a strategy session said, hey, let's try this and scare everybody about dying, and pretty soon we'll have everybody under control. It's amazing. And God in his providence is allowing it because it will dovetail into what's going to be happening in the Great Tribulation. We believe the resurrection and rapture of the church is imminent. That means it could happen any moment, and more of us are wanting it to happen any moment probably than before. Jesus will return in the clouds. He raises the dead in Christ. He transforms the bodies of living believers to glorified resurrection bodies, and then we all join him in heaven while the earth endures that final 7-year campaign of severe evangelism that we know as the Great Tribulation. The question each week is, are you ready for the rapture? If not, get ready, stay ready, keep looking up. Ready or not, Jesus is coming.